new girl faces terrifying bullying, but what they don't know could change everything. Mia stood at the gates of Crestwood Academy, her heart pounding like a drum in a parade. This was no ordinary school. It was an elite institution for the brightest minds. Glossy brochures promised incredible opportunities. But as she stepped through the swarming crowd of students, the once glamorous images faded. Laughter echoed, rich and sharp, slicing through her like a knife. She felt like an alien in a world governed by unwritten rules and fierce ranks. Rachel, the queen bee of the popular clique, strutted ahead, her entourage flanking her like soldiers. Mia's eyes widened as she watched the way students leaned. A wicked grin spread across her face as she leaned over to her friends, who giggled and pointed. Mia's face burned, heat creeping up her neck, and she wished more than anything to dissolve into the floor. Just then, an apple flew past her head, landing with a splat on the wall behind her. Laughter erupted, ringing in her ears like a barrage of fireworks. "Oops, my bad, Mia," Rachel called out, her tone dripping with sarcasm. The laughter intensified. Mia's heart thundered, panic tightening her chest. As the days passed, each morning became a mountain to climb. The halls echoed with hostile whispers. Mia felt vulnerable, like prey in a world of predators. Her nights were filled with restless thoughts, questioning her worth and why she even dared to step into this world. But one night, while rummaging through her mother's old things, she stumbled upon a faded journal. It was filled with her mother's whimsical drawings and curious sketches of stars, forests, and powers. Mia's breath hitched. She read about a family secret, a legacy tied to her mother that hinted at an incredible strength hidden within her. Could it be true? The thought sparked a flicker of hope as she pictured herself standing tall against Rachel's relentless taunts. As she began to explore this newfound power, Mia felt a shift within her. But with strength came tension. Rachel's bullying escalated, and then, on the brink of despair, a showdown seemed inevitable. "Mia, you think you can just blend in?" Rachel taunted one day, pushing her against the wall in front of cheering classmates. "You're nothing!" The crowd surged, their hungry gazes devouring the scene before them. Mia felt the power within her rise, a storm ready to break free. But amid the chaos, she noticed a flicker of uncertainty in Rachel's eyes. Perhaps they were both feeling powerless. Mia stood there, heart racing, caught between exposing Rachel's vulnerabilities or finding a way to connect. What would she choose? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important warning. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube removed their subscriptions without any notice. Take a quick look at the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content that's coming up. And while you're here, hit that powerful like button. It helps me a lot with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, from which city are you watching? I love getting to know every incredible person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact. Mia stood frozen, heart racing like a wild stallion. Rachel's words clawed at her. "You're nothing," echoed in her mind. She felt the power surging inside her, swirling like a tempest. But then, a flicker of something familiar danced in Rachel's eyes. Fear, vulnerability, a crack in her polished armor. The crowd, hungry for drama, leaned in. Tension thickened like fog around them. One heartbeat, then another. Everything seemed to hang in the balance. Mia wrestled with her thoughts. Should she fight back? Let the torrent of her newfound strength explode? Or could she somehow reach out? Just then, the piercing ring of the school bell shattered the moment. Students began to disperse, but a sharp crack interrupted everything. A loud crash echoed through the hallway. Everyone turned as a sudden explosion of colour burst from the nearby science lab. Smoke billowed out, swirling in chaotic patterns, the acrid smell flooding the air. A sign on the door hung loosely. "Caution! Experiment in progress." The crowd gasped, eyes wide and fear palpable. "What's happening?" Someone yelled, panic creeping into their voice. Mia stepped back, her breaths coming faster now, her heart pounding even harder. Rachel's confident facade faltered. She seemed almost small against the chaos. Her sharp laughter, from moments ago, replaced with a look of pure shock. Before Mia could process what was happening, the lab door burst open and out came a figure, a teacher, sweating and frantic. "Everyone, clear the area," he shouted, eyes darting around. "We have an emergency." Mia heard whispers swirl through the crowd. What happened? Was it really an experiment? Eyes flickered back to Rachel, who seemed to be contemplating something deeper. Her bravado fading, replaced by a strange, unsettling stillness. Then, out of nowhere, a flash. A brilliant light shot out from the lab, illuminating the hallway. It struck a nearby locker, causing a loud bang as it shattered. Students shrieked and scrambled, bumping into one another, their faces painted with terror. "Mia!" Rachel's voice cut through the chaos, trembling now, an unexpected urgency behind it. "Help me!" Mia turned, confusion clouding her mind. Was Rachel really asking for help? She'd never seen the girl like this, vulnerable. But just next to her, a shadow passed, drawing Mia's attention. A figure emerged from the smoke. A mysterious girl, face obscured, commanding attention despite the chaos. She walked with an eerie grace, eyes locked onto Mia. A soft grin played at the corners of her lips. "Mia, it's time to embrace who you really are." The crowd fell silent. All eyes were on this girl. The tension grew thick again, hearts racing in unison. Mia felt dizzy. What was she saying? Embrace who she was? It felt like the world around her tilted. Rachel took a step back, her hands trembling. "What are you talking about?" Her voice broke, revealing cracks in her confidence. The girl leaned closer to Mia. "You're not just a nobody. You're part of something vast. Don't let them hold you down." At those words, a rush surged through Mia like lightning. Power crackled in the air. She took a breath, feeling the storm within her swell. But what was she meant to do with it? In that moment, eyes darted between Mia and Rachel, shock painting their faces, and Mia realized everything she thought she knew was about to change. The energy pulsing inside her was no longer just hers to hold. Before Mia could grasp any of it, the lights flickered, and the mysterious girl vanished into the smoke, leaving behind a whirl of confusion, questions buzzing like angry bees in their minds. "What just happened?" Rachel whispered, her voice quaking. Mia's head spun. The power, the girl, Rachel's fear. They tangled together into a web she couldn't yet untangle. She blinked, the clarity of silence settling around them, and as she stood among the chaos, surrounded by students who stared wide-eyed, uncertainty dripped into her heart. Was she ready to face the truth? What had just been unleashed? What would happen next? Mia stood among the chaos, confusion swirling like a tempest in her mind. The students around her were still wide-eyed, each face marked with a mixture of fear and disbelief. Rachel's voice trembled, breaking the eerie silence that hung in the hallway. What just happened? There was desperation in her tone, a sound Mia had never heard from her before. Before Mia could answer, a sudden crack echoed through the air. For a split second, everything seemed to freeze. Students clutched each other, eyes darting around. And then, out of nowhere, a blinding flash of white light erupted from the science lab. It felt like a punch to the gut. Mia's instinct screamed for her to run, but she stood rooted to the floor, absorbing the brilliance that lit up the entire corridor. As the light flickered and danced, she heard a strange sound, like the crackle of static before a storm. Then it all happened at once. The light dimmed, and in its wake stood not just the mysterious girl, but an entire group of figures, each cloaked in shadows, eyes glinting like predatory animals ready to pounce. Mia's breath hitched. They seemed to pulse with energy, an aura that vibrated in the air around them. "Protector!" one of them shouted, his voice deep and resonant. The crowd gasped, pressed back against the walls as the figures moved forward, circling around Mia. "What's going on?" she shouted, panic bubbling within her like boiling water. She was afraid, confused, uncertainty gnawed at her insides. But then she locked eyes with the girl. The girl smiled again. A knowing smile that sent chills crawling up Mia's spine. "Hello, Mia. You've awakened now. It's time to learn the truth about who you really are." The air around them thickened, heavy with anticipation. Rachel, standing a few feet away, stared in disbelief. Mia's heart raced. Could it be true? Was she truly special in some way? The excitement felt like wildfire coursing through her veins. But it was overshadowed by dread. Just then, something unexpected happened. A figure emerged from the shadows, a boy with wild hair, eyes wide with fear. "Mia, it's all because of her!" His shout sent a ripple through the crowd. "She's the reason for Rachel's power." The world seemed to tilt on its axis. Rachel's eyes widened, her previously fierce expression crumbling into one of shock. "What? No! That's not true!" Murmurs spread through the students, gossip weaving through the crowd like lightning. What power? What does he mean? Each word felt like a dagger aimed at secrets left unspoken. Rachel's facade shattered, revealing something raw beneath. "Mia, you have no idea what you're capable of," the boy continued, voice quivering. "You're part of a legacy, a lineage." Rachel's had powers too, secrets buried deep among us all. Mia felt the weight of his truth hit her like a tsunami. Memories of her mother's journal filled her mind. Strange illustrations and hints of magic. But could this be real? Was Rachel's taunting all part of something much darker? No, no, Rachel shouted, hands shaking as she stepped back. The confident queen bee now seemed more like a trapped animal. I never wanted this. Mia's heart surged with questions. What did Rachel mean? What was happening to their world? Suddenly, a rift formed. Their lives split open like pages in a book, revealing secrets fiercely held. The ground beneath them trembled slightly, as though the very foundation of Crestwood Academy itself was reacting to the revelations unfolding. The figures in shadows moved closer, their energy intensifying, ready to become a storm as much as a shield. Rachel's voice broke through the haze. If I'm part of this too, if we're both... But before she could finish, the air exploded with a deafening roar, filling every corner of the hallway with sound and fury. An unseen force tossed students aside like leaves in a gale, and everyone fell into a state of chaos. Mia clutched her head, her heart pounding furiously. The girl in shadows whispered more behind the roar, words too faint to grasp. All Mia could do was watch the scene unfold, a dance of power and fate intertwining, where everything she thought she knew shattered like glass. Was she ready to embrace this reality? Or was their world about to plunge into an unrecognizable darkness? The thundering chaos faded away, but Mia could feel the weight of destiny pressing in. And just as quickly, it became clear. Everything was about to change. Mia stood among the chaos, confusion swirling like a tempest in her mind. The students around her were still wide-eyed, each face marked with. There was desperation in her tone, a sound Mia had never heard from her before. Before Mia could answer, a sudden crack echoed through the air. For a split second, everything seemed to freeze. Students clutched each other, eyes darting around. And then, out of nowhere, a blinding flash of white light erupted from the science lab. It felt like a punch to the gut. Mia's instincts screamed for her to run, but she stood rooted to the floor, absorbing the brilliance that lit up the entire corridor. As the light flickered and danced, she heard a strange sound, like the crackle of static before a storm. Then it all happened at once. The light dimmed, and in its wake stood not just the mysterious girl, but an entire group of figures, each cloaked in shadows, eyes glinting like predatory animals ready to pounce. Mia's breath hitched. They seemed to pulse with energy, an aura that vibrated in the air around them. "Protect her!" one of them shouted, his voice deep and resonant. What's going on?" she shouted, panic bubbling within her like boiling water. But then she locked eyes with the girl. The girl smiled again, a knowing smile that sent chills crawling up Mia's spine. "Hello, Mia," the cloaked one said, stepping closer. "You've awakened now. It's time to learn the truth about who you really are." The air around them thickened, heavy with anticipation. Rachel, standing a few feet away, stared in disbelief. Mia's heart raced. Could it be true? Was she truly special in some way? The excitement felt like wildfire coursing through her veins, but it was overshadowed by dread. Just then, something unexpected happened. A figure emerged from the shadows, a boy with wild hair, eyes wide with fear. "Mia, it's all because of her!" His shout sent a ripple through the crowd. She's the reason for Rachel's power. Mia felt the weight of his truth hit her like a tsunami. Memories of her mother's journal filled her mind, strange illustrations and hints of magic. But could this be real? Was Rachel's taunting all part of something much darker? "No! No!" Rachel shouted, hands shaking as she stepped back. The confident queen bee now seemed more like a trapped animal. "I never wanted this." Mia's heart surged with questions. What did Rachel mean? What was happening to their world? Suddenly, a rift formed. Their lives split open like pages in a book, revealing secrets fiercely held. The ground beneath them trembled slightly, as though the very foundation of Crestwood Academy itself was reacting to the revelations unfolding. The figures in shadows moved closer, their energy intensifying, ready to become a storm as much as a shield. "Mia!" Rachel's voice broke through the haze. "If I'm part of this too, if we're both..." But before she could finish, a loud bang erupted from the lab. The sound, like a thunderclap, shook the ground. Mia stumbled, and the world seemed to cave in on itself. The walls shook, and a blinding light surged from the laboratory, sweeping through the hallway. The cloaked figures vanished, swallowed by the light, and an eerie silence filled the space. Mia squinted, trying to make sense of the chaos, and then, from the swirling fog, emerged a figure cloaked in white. A stark contrast. It was her mother. But she looked different, radiant, powerful, eyes shimmering with ancient wisdom. Mia. Her mother's voice was gentle, yet commanding. "I've waited too long for you to find your strength, to learn the truth about everything. But this isn't just your battle." Mia's breath caught. The weight of her mother's presence felt overwhelming. The crowd was transfixed, hanging on each word. "You must unite all of us!" Suddenly, the tension in the air ripped apart as Rachel screamed. "No! If she awakens her powers, everything will fall apart!" The panic in her voice resonated deep with Mia. What did Rachel know that she didn't? As the truth washed over them, everything shattered. Rachel's facade crumbled completely, revealing a desperate vulnerability. A girl burdened under the weight of her own secrets. The crowd gasped as understanding dawned. The relationships, the rivalries, all woven with threads of fate Mia never anticipated. Mia's heart raced, staggering between disbelief and a shocking sense of connection to Rachel, realizing how thin the line was between them. But what was this unforeseen darkness? The light flickered again, enveloping the room, and with it came the terrifying realization that this was only the beginning. Was her mother a part of the very chaos they faced? What had Rachel kept hidden? As Mia stood at the center of a web unraveling, fear and hope collided. Her world had turned upside down, and now nothing would ever be the same. Mia stood at the center of chaos, her heart pounding like a jackhammer. Rachel's desperate question echoed in her mind, but it was drowned by the "So!" Students screamed, darting for cover as the walls of Crestwood Academy cracked. Fissures snaking up, like dark veins. "Mia, focus!" Her mother's voice cut through the fear like a knife. But just then, a blinding light shot from the open science lab. It spiraled upward, engulfing everything, shimmering and pulsing. The very air felt electric, charged with an energy that made Mia's hair stand on end. A shadowy figure emerged from the glow, and as Mia squinted, she felt a familiar chill. It can't be! From the light stepped none other than Rachel's father, the headmaster of Crestwood Academy, Dr. Gaines. His expression was unreadable, eyes wild, like he'd just walked from a nightmare. "This isn't right! You shouldn't be here!" Rachel cried, stepping back as her father approached. Whispers rippled through the crowd, confusion painted on every face. "Mia, you're not safe!" Dr. Gaines barked, his tone urgent yet tinged with something darker. "What do you mean?" Mia couldn't shake the unease creeping up her spine. "Why are you here?" "Because you're awakening a force that shouldn't exist," he growled. Students glanced at each other, uncertainty gripping them like a vice. The tension crackled. But Mia could feel something deeper lurking beneath the surface. "I don't understand!" she shouted, frustration bubbling up. "What do you want from me?" Rachel's face twisted in horror. "No, Dad, please, don't!" But the headmaster ignored her, his focus solely on Mia. "Mia, you are the key," he said, voice firm. "Your mother sought power, and it has come at a terrible price." Mia's heart twisted. "My mother? What are you talking about?" Without warning, Dr. Gaines lunged forward, grabbing Mia's wrist. "You must come with me. There's no time." Panic shot through her. "No, release me!" She pulled away, the heat of his grasp still lingering. Suddenly, the light erupted once more. In an explosive burst, figures materialized behind Dr. Gaines. Students, faculty, even familiar faces from her own circle. Each wearing their own cloaks and carrying unrecognizable power. "We know the truth about you, Mia," one of them said, a girl with piercing blue eyes. "We've been watching." "You're not just anyone!" The crowd gasped, a tsunami of fear washing over them as realization came crashing down. "What truth? What are you all hiding?" Dr. Gaines's expression hardened. "Your mother's legacy was never just hers. It's a curse shared among the strongest, and you're next." Mia's breath caught in her throat. The blur of students and faculty shifted around her, a storm of whispers growing louder. "Mia's special! The next one! Stronger than Rachel!" Mustering every ounce of courage, Mia found her voice. "Why should I trust you? You've all kept secrets." With that, a bright flash erupted, and Mia whipped her head around. Rachel stood frozen, her eyes wide, shimmering with more than fear. There was betrayal there too. "Mia, I'm so sorry," she whispered, but the words felt like ice. "Sorry?" Mia's hands trembled, heart shattering like fragile glass. "What did you do?" Before Rachel could answer, another shockwave coursed through the ground. The energy warped, bending time and space, sucking everyone into an unbearable darkness. And then silence. In that suffocating void, one thought pierced through the chaos. Everything was about to change. That truth would expose unseen alliances, devastating secrets, and a darkness that stretched far beyond what Mia could comprehend. Everything she thought she knew was crumbling, and as she hung on the precipice of understanding, one question burned bright in her mind. Who was she, really? Mia stood at the center of chaos, breath hitching in her throat. Everything felt like a dream. No, a nightmare. Students around her gasped and backed away, eyes darting nervously. Rachel's father loomed over her, wild-eyed and frantic, each word piercing through the suffocating silence. You have to understand, Mia. You're opening doors that should remain closed. What does that even mean? Mia shouted back, her voice trembling, frustration bubbling inside her. Just tell me the truth. And then, in the midst of the chaos, the ground beneath them shook violently. It felt like an earthquake rumbled through the school. Mia stumbled, reaching for the wall to steady herself. The walls creaked and groaned as fissures spread like spiderwebs. Dust fell from the ceiling, swirling in the dim light. Run! Someone screamed, their voice cutting through the fear that gripped everyone. The sudden chaos sent students careening toward the exits. But Mia wasn't moving. She was frozen between fear and the urgency in Dr. Gaines' eyes. What doors? What secrets? Mia, listen! The headmaster yelled, clearly losing his own grip. Your mother wanted to protect you from this, but you've awakened something. Something dangerous. As he spoke, the smoke from the lab thickened, swirling around them like a living creature. And then, in an instant, a dark cloud billowed in front of Mia, and everyone fell silent. All eyes widened, hearts racing as they watched the shadow take shape. From the swirling darkness, a figure emerged. A tall, looming entity wrapped in shadows. Its presence was chilling, but oddly familiar. Mia's heartbeat thundered in her chest. Was it? Mia! The voice was a haunting whisper, sending chills up her spine. Suddenly, recognition kicked in. It was her mother, but not like before. This was something darker, something twisted. She appeared as though she'd been drained of colour, her eyes glowing with a chaotic energy that echoed the storm brewing inside Mia. You should not have come here, my child. The collective gasp sent another wave of shock through everyone. What? Mia felt both horror and confusion collide within her. Mum, why are you like this? I had to keep you safe. You must believe me, her mother said, the ethereal voice breaking just a little, revealing the anguish behind the commanding tone. The very energy of the darkness pulsed as Mia searched for answers in those once comforting eyes. Just then, Rachel stepped forward, her expression shifting from fear to fury. This is all your fault. You opened the door, Mia. You didn't care. Each word felt like a dagger in the air, and Mia's heart sank. No, it isn't, Mia retaliated, feeling anger surge. You don't understand what I found. I'm not just a nobody. Enough, Dr. Gaines thundered, pushing himself between them. Your mother chose this path. She made a choice that affects all of us. A chilling silence fell over the crowd. The shadows inched forward, the dark figure of Mia's mother looming ominously. You must choose, Mia. Embrace your legacy or fight against it. But know this, it can distort everything. Relationships, truths, even your very soul. As the air thickened with tension, time seemed to stretch. Mia felt herself torn apart. All she wanted was to belong, but now she stood on the brink of a precipice, facing a truth she never wanted to know. Then, without warning, the dark figure reached out toward Mia, and in that moment, everything changed. Light burst forth, a blinding flash, as reality fractured. The ground trembled again, and with it came a burst of energy that collided into her, slamming into her core, a primal force that took her breath away. Mia was propelled backward, hitting the ground hard. She could feel the world swirling around her, and all at once the shocking truth pierced through her mind. Maybe Rachel wasn't just a bully. Maybe they were part of something much larger, an intertwined fate neither could escape. But with the world shifting beneath her, Mia understood something raw and powerful. This was just the beginning. The darkness was not the end. It was a choice. As her heart raced, she realized everything she ever thought she knew might be a lie. Who was her mother really? What were they all connected to? And as she lay there, gasping for clarity, one thought echoed in her mind. What if Rachel wasn't just a rival, but her only ally in a fate none of them could understand? Bwah-ha-ha-ha! The truth wasn't just out there. It was about to shatter their worlds even further. Mia lay on the ground, heart racing and breath quickening. The glowing figure of her mother loomed large, casting shadows that swirled around her. Panic clawed at her chest as the voice echoed, "You must choose, Mia!" But before she could even respond, the ground trembled again. A deep rumble filled the hall, more intense than before. The air sizzled with energy, and Miss Langley, the science teacher, stumbled out of the fog. She gasped, eyes darting frantically around. "You have to stop this!" "What are you talking about?" Mia shouted, feeling the panic rise like bile in her throat. "What's happening? What do I need to stop?" The response came not from Miss Langley, but from the shadowy figure of her mother, who let out an unsettling laugh. The sound chilled Mia to the bone. "They don't understand, Mia. It's already too late." A freak gust of wind swept through the hallway, sending papers fluttering. Students screamed, clutching each other. Mia looked at Rachel, who was frozen, a blend of fear and anger painting her features. "It's not just your mother!" Miss Langley yelled, her voice slicing through the chaos. "Mia, you need to know. We've all kept secrets, and they run deeper than you think." "What do you mean?" Mia felt her stomach drop. "What secrets?" "Your mother and Rachel. They're linked," Miss Langley shouted, just before another quake jolted the ground. "Both of them have powers that together could have stopped the forces we're now dealing with." "What?" Mia felt her head spin. "You're saying Rachel and my mum?" "Yes," Miss Langley cried, desperation in her eyes. "Their power was meant to be joined, to harness something greater. But they were separated, hidden away to protect you all. And now it's out of control." Mia's mind raced, trying to pull together the fragments of truth unraveling before her. Rachel's angry sigh sharpened the air as she stepped forward, pointing a trembling finger at Mia. "I didn't choose this. None of this was my fault." But before Mia could respond, a blinding flash engulfed them. Cutting the tension like a blade, It felt like being punched in the gut. When the light faded, an eerie stillness washed over everyone, leaving Mia poised in disbelief. Standing before them now was a different figure. An older woman, dark hair flowing, eyes gleaming with an intensity that threatened to swallow Mia whole. This was not her mother. This was something else. "It's time to reveal the truth, my daughter," the woman said, voice resonant and deep. "And you, Rachel, you've been more important than you realize." Mia's heart raced as she took a step back, nearly toppling over. "What? Who are you?" "I'm the one who binds you both." Her smile was full of promise and dread. "Rachel and your mother are parts of me. Fragments, but powerful. And what you'll waken tonight will change everything." Mia stared, disbelief flooding her senses. "You're saying we're all connected? That you're one?" "Yes," the woman replied, almost as if she were savoring the words. "And if you continue down this path, there will be no returning. The world will alter in ways you can't begin to fathom." The students gasped collectively, tension giving way to a cacophony of murmurs. Rachel's face blanched. "No, no! It can't be true!" But Mia's breath caught in her throat. Her whole life had shifted on this single truth. She could sense vague memories, whispers of power and purpose swirling within her. Nothing made sense anymore. And then the whispers intensified, merging with Mia's own thoughts. Her power was entwined with Rachel, and strangely with this new figure. The implications rattled through her mind, shocking her to her core. "Only together can we break free," the figure continued, her eyes locking onto Mia's. "But you must decide if you're willing to embrace your legacy or let the darkness win." Mia felt a rush. Fear and acceptance, confusion and clarity, all mingling into a tempest within her. The silence in the hall felt heavier than ever. What would happen if she embraced this truth? Could the relationships she held dear survive this revelation? As everyone watched, breath held in unison, she realized the weight of the choice ahead. One choice that could shatter everything she thought she understood. And in that pressing moment, the shadows seemed to close in, leaving everyone questioning just how deep the secrets really ran. Mia felt the weight of the world pressing down on her. The figure of her mother loomed larger than life, shaking her core. Tension danced in the air. Rachel stood close, her face a canvas of fear and anger. And then, in that crushing silence, "Mia," her mother said again, voice trembling like leaves in a storm. But before Mia could answer, the atmosphere shifted, a crack splitting the air, as if reality itself had fractured. Suddenly, a blinding light exploded from the lab, the kind that blinds and consumes. It flared with such intensity, Mia had to cover her eyes. Students screamed, the sound piercing through the moment. Heart racing, she squinted, desperate to see. In the midst of the chaos, a figure barreled through the light, moving impossibly fast. It was a young man Mia recognized, Ben, her classmate, always sitting in the back of science class, quiet and overlooked. But now he had an aura surrounding him, energy pulsating like thunder. "Mia, get back!" Ben yelled, And just like that, everything changed. As if by instinct, he raised his hands toward the shadows threatening them. The air crackled as an invisible force surged forward, a shockwave rippling out from him. Mia felt her heart explode in her chest. It slammed against her ribs, every beat echoing panic. What was he doing? Before anyone could react, dark tendrils of energy erupted, merging with Ben's force. A wild storm of power swirled around them, and Mia stumbled backward, her eyes wide. Everything felt like a dream, like a scene from a movie gone mad. "Ben, stop!" Rachel shouted, fear gripping her voice. But he didn't stop. He let out a primal scream, and as it rang out, the ground beneath them cracked, enormous fissures splitting the tiles. With each scream, with each surge of energy, shadows writhed, battling against Ben's light. And then, silence. Everything froze as the energy reached a breaking point. Blinding flash erupted, and when Mia opened her eyes, the world was transformed. Darkness receded, and in its place stood Ben. But now he was different. Radiant, ethereal, a shimmer of pure energy pouring from him. "I'm the key," he proclaimed, jaw clenched, eyes fierce. "To both sides, I can bring balance." What did he mean? Questions spun wildly in Mia's mind. Rachel's face paled. "No, it can't be you!" There was a tremor of disbelief in her voice. And Mia could almost see the threads of fear unraveling within her. "Why not, Rachel?" Then shot back, his brows furrowed. "You think you're the only one with secrets? This is bigger than all of us!" Mia's heart sank. What secrets? What layer of reality had she missed? She fought to process everything, feelings of betrayal crashing over her like waves. There was too much. Everything she was trying to piece together was slipping from her grasp. "Stay back!" Rachel screamed, her hands shaking. "You don't know what you're doing!" But Ben stepped forward, courage burning in his eyes. "I'm done hiding. The truth connects us all." A sudden energy pulse surged through the space, and the shadows shifted again, as if protesting against this new reality being born. In that heartbeat, Mia caught a glance of something hidden beneath Ben's exterior, an ancient power sparking in his depths. The whispers of destiny swirled around her, and her mind reeled. Could Ben be tied to everything she was discovering? "Stop! Just stop!" Mia shouted, feeling something shift in her chest. "We need to understand!" In that moment, there was a jolt, a spark. The air thickened with tension as the essence of truth unraveled before them. The revelation felt monumental, the kind of shock that echoes deep within and leaves a mark. And as the weight of those words hung in the air, a singular thought pierced Mia's mind. If Ben was indeed part of the legacy, an extension of this web, then everything she believed about enemies and allies shattered into fragments. Could it be that her father's... The world resumed its frenetic pulse around them, but Mia stood frozen, horrified and curious, as questions danced in her mind. What did that mean for them all? What truly bound them in this chaotic reality? In that moment of stillness, the truth reverberated endlessly, and Mia knew everything was changing, and with it, relationships would morph, and a new narrative would begin. Mia felt the weight of the world pressing down on her. The figure of her mother loomed larger than life, shaking her core. Tension danced in the air. Rachel stood close, her face a canvas of fear and anger. And then, in that crushing silence, the ground quaked beneath them once more, rattling the school as if history was about to rewrite itself. "Mia," her mother said again, voice trembling like leaves in a storm. But before Mia could answer, the atmosphere shifted, a crack splitting the air, as if reality itself had fractured. Suddenly, a blinding light exploded from the lab, the kind that blinds, and students screamed, the sound piercing through the moment. Heart racing, she squinted, desperate to see. In the midst of the chaos, a figure barreled through the light, moving impossibly fast. It was a young man Mia recognized. Ben, her classmate, always sitting in the back of science class, quiet and overlooked. But now he had an aura surrounding him, energy pulsating like thunder. "Mia, get back!" Ben yelled, and just like that, everything changed. As if by instinct, he raised his hands toward the shadows, threatening them. The air crackled as an invisible force surged forward, a shockwave rippling out from him. Mia felt her heart explode in her chest. It slammed against her ribs, every beat echoing panic. What was he doing? Before anyone could react, dark tendrils of energy erupted, merging with Ben's force. A wild storm of power swirled around them, and Mia stumbled backward, her eyes wide. Everything felt like a dream, like a scene from a movie gone mad. "Ben, stop!" Rachel shouted, fear gripping her voice. But he didn't stop. He let out a primal scream, and as it rang out, the ground beneath them cracked, enormous fissures splitting the tiles. With each scream, with each surge of energy, shadows writhed, battling against Ben's light. And then, silence. Everything froze as the energy reached a breaking point. A blinding flash erupted, and when Mia opened her eyes, the world was transformed. Darkness receded, and in its place stood Ben. But now he was different, radiant, ethereal, a shimmer of pure energy pouring from him. "I'm the key," he proclaimed, jaw clenched, eyes fierce. "To both sides, I can bring balance." What did he mean? Questions spun wildly in Mia's mind. Rachel's face paled. "No, it can't be you." There was a tremor of disbelief in her voice, and Mia could almost see the threads of fear unraveling within her. "Why not, Rachel?" Ben shot back, his brows furrowed. "You think you're the only one with secrets? This is bigger than all of us." Mia's heart sank. What secrets? What layer of reality had she missed? She fought to process everything, feelings of betrayal crashing over her like waves. There was too much. Everything she was trying to piece together was slipping from her grasp. "Stay back!" Rachel screamed, her hands shaking. "You don't know what you're doing!" But Ben stepped forward, courage burning in his eyes. "I'm done hiding. The truth connects us all." A sudden energy pulse surged through the space, and the shadows shifted again, as if protesting against this new reality being born. In that heartbeat, Mia caught a glance of something hidden beneath Ben's exterior, an ancient power sparking in his depths. The whispers of destiny swirled around her, and her mind reeled. Could Ben be tied to everything she was discovering? "Stop! Just stop!" Mia shouted, feeling something shift in her chest. "We need to understand." In that moment, there was a jolt, a spark. The air thickened with tension as the essence of truth unraveled before them. The revelation felt monumental, the kind of shock that echoes deep within and leaves a mark. And then, suddenly, the floor began to quiver more violently. The shadows twisted, groaning as if alive. From within, a loud crack came, like thunder resonating through them. A voice, chilling and deep, emerged from the depths of the darkness. "Fools! You have unleashed what you cannot control." Mia's heart dropped. Who is that?" she stammered, fear creeping up her back. Without warning, the shadows consolidated, forming the figure of a woman cloaked in an even darker mist. Her eyes glowed with a haunting light. "I am Seraphine, and you've awakened me by meddling with forces you do not comprehend." Gasps filled the room. Rachel's expression shifted from anger to sheer terror. "No, not you!" she breathed, stepping back. "What do you want?" Ben shouted, stepping protectively closer to Mia, an unexpected spark between them stirring under the chaos. Seraphine laughed, a sound that chilled the air. "Everything you hold dear hangs in the balance. I will claim my due, and your little heroics mean nothing." Suddenly, she pointed a finger at Rachel, and the air crackled. The surge of energy struck, knocking everyone backward. In a blinding flash, Rachel was enveloped by a wave of darkness. Mia cried out, watching as Rachel's eyes widened in horror. "Mia!" Rachel's voice was lost, swallowed by the shadows. Mia's mind raced. Her best friend was being dragged into the void. She felt a desperate urgency rise up within her. Was this the end? Would she lose Rachel? In that heartbeat, everything shifted again. The darkness swirled around Rachel, and a shocking revelation hit Mia hard. She'd taken the brunt of the darkness during all those years. What if Rachel had been stronger all along? What if Seraphine saw something deep within her? Fear clawed at Mia's throat. Relationships unraveling, secrets exploding. Everything she thought she knew shattered again. As Rachel disappeared into the mist, a single thought pierced through Mia's panic. Seraphine could take everything from them. And if they didn't act now, they would lose everything they cared about. With her heart racing, Mia was left staring into the darkness, realizing it was more than just a fight for her friend, but a fight for the very essence of everything she loved. And somewhere, mixed within that fear, was a flicker of furious determination. Mia stood shaking, staring into the swirling shadows where Rachel had just been swallowed. Desperation gripped her heart, tighter than an iron vice. "No!" she screamed, her voice cutting through the chaos. "You can't take her!" Seraphine merely laughed darkly. "She's lost now, just like your mother." Mia gasped, the words choking her. The truth hit like a punch. Her mother had sacrificed so much. But to protect them from what? She glanced at Ben, his face set with determination. "We can't let her win. We have to fight." He nodded, the energy around him still crackling with potential. "Together, Mia. We have to join forces. It's the only way to pull Rachel back. Right. Every nerve in Mia's body felt alive, the pulse of power thrumming through her. She took a deep breath, channeling all her fear into resolve. Let's do this! With newfound courage, Mia reached out to Ben. Their powers intertwined, a electric pulse igniting between them. In tandem, they faced Seraphine, the shadows swirling around them like a storm. You won't take anyone else, they shouted in unison, voices merging into a powerful echo. An explosion of light erupted from their connection, forcing back the shadows. With a fierce cry, Mia felt Rachel's essence somewhere deep within the mist, their friendship tethering her to reality. Rachel, we're coming for you! The darkness trembled, shadows screeching in fury, but they couldn't hold back the onslaught. The light blazed on, expanding, cutting through the gloom, illuminating the school halls. With determination, they surged forward, propelled by unity and hope. Suddenly, from within the shadows, came a piercing cry. Mia! It was Rachel's voice, a thread of panic and desperation that wrapped around Mia's heart. I can hear you! Mia shouted, desperation creeping into her voice. Hold on! With every ounce of strength, Mia and Ben pushed against the darkness, each lightning bolt of energy driving closer to Rachel. As they moved, more students emerged from the shadows. Fellow classmates who had stood by, too terrified to act. Now they rallied behind Mia, ready to join the fight. The tide was turning. Inspired, the classmates raised their hands, channeling their fears into brilliant light, forming a shield around Mia, Ben, and the shadows. As the shield shone, Rachel's voice became clearer. I'm right here! Then, as if spurred by Mia's determination, a shaft of light cut through the shadows, illuminating Rachel trapped in a cocoon of darkness. Grab my hand! Mia shouted. With one synchronized heartbeat, the energy coalesced into a singular force. The ground shook. The darkness recoiled in horror as the combined forces of friendship surged forward, breaking through the last remnants of Seraphine's grip. In an explosion of light, Rachel burst free, collapsing into Mia's arms. Tears streamed down their faces as relief washed over them. You came for me, Rachel cried, gasping. Of course I did. Mia held her tight, feeling the weight of every fear dissolve. But even in their moment of relief, Seraphine's voice rose furious and dark. You think you've won? This isn't over! Mia turned, facing the retreating shadows, her heartbeat steady. It's over, Seraphine! Confidence flooded through her. We're not afraid of you anymore. And as every student took a deep breath, lifting their heads high, the air between them pulsed with the promise of hope. But as they started to process everything, a whisper floated through the halls. This is just the beginning! Mia felt a shiver run down her spine, uncertainty creeping back in. What did that mean? What challenges lay ahead? As they looked around, their hearts filled with determination. They had fought together, and they would continue to stand together. Whatever may come, don't forget this journey. You need to subscribe now to catch the next chapter. Smash that like button to show your support. Flood the comments with your reactions. I want to know what you think. And don't wait another second to share this with at least 5 friends who need to hear this story. Only true fans understand the importance of being part of this journey.